Can an artificial intelligence system give us a complicated conversation on a complex topic? Well, that's what we're going to be exploring this week in the Data Radio Show. Hello there, and welcome to this week's episode of the Data Radio Show. I'm your host, Paul Barlow. This week we're doing something a little bit different. We wanted to test the limits of artificial intelligence in content creation because, well, to be honest, it's been popping up quite a bit in the fields that I work in, and I'm really curious to see just how complex we can get with the information that it's able to amalgamate, homogenize, and put out there in a AI-generated podcast. So we're going to do that a little bit later. We also had a little bit of a play with DeepSeek this week when it came to scripting some advertorial content for some of the people that we work with. It's been a really fascinating exercise, and I'll show you the ad for that very, very soon. But before we get into any of that, make sure you hit that like button, share the video or podcast, or subscribe to the channel so that you get updates as we come along. Now, let's learn a little bit more about NotebookLM. It's a tool that Google has that takes sources of information and produces what they call a deep dive podcast with realistic voices that talk about the topic at hand. We've actually been using it to create content based on our Data Pro newsletter, which you can subscribe to down below. It's in the description. What we do is we take the newsletter each week, we feed it into NotebookLM with maybe a couple of other sources to help back things up, and it produces for us a weekly podcast that we put out on Saturdays. So you can subscribe, as I said, and you get those updates sent to you directly. What we wanted to see, though, is whether or not it could handle a much more complex topic. And we decided on Data Vault as the topic of choice for a couple of reasons. The fact that we got a lot of Data Vault users out there is definitely a big one. But we also know that Data Vault is a topic that, for people outside of the engineering field, it can be a little bit scary looking. So we inputted a whole bunch of information from past content that we've produced on the topic. We did a range of masterclasses over the last couple of years, so we've put that in there. And there's some really interesting stuff that comes through. There's some really highly technical information, but there's also some conversations with people like Dan Lindstedt, the inventor of Data Vault, that come through in this as well. So it'll be really fascinating for us to hear your feedback on what gets produced and how this comes out. The other tool that we've been using this week is DeepSeek. Now, this was the artificial intelligence system that made waves on the US stock market recently when its introduction and its cost sort of shook a few foundations out there. We've asked DeepSeek to script some commercials for us. 3 of them, in fact. The first one is going to be for our school classroom, the Data Innovators Exchange. The second one is going to be for Scale Free, and the third is for Ignition. And they'll come up through the interview, because when the interview was produced, it created these spots for us to put in this kind of material. So I'd be really curious to hear what your feedback is on the scripting that comes up, as well as how you feel the conversation around Data Vault itself goes. Please leave a comment down below. We'd really like to hear it. So let's jump over to the first scripted advertorial and then into this week's AI-generated NotebookLM interview on Data Vault. In the fast-evolving world of data management, professionals need more than just tools. They need a collaborative hub to learn, innovate, and lead. Enter the Data Innovators Exchange, a dynamic school-based community uniting data engineers, architects, and analysts to master cutting-edge practices like Data Vault 2.0 and navigate the AI-driven landscape. Access courses like the 9 Principles of Data Privacy and hands-on Data Vault tutorials, including real-world examples like Willowbold Data Vault warehouse built with Data Vault for DBT. Participate in events like Warescape expert sessions and global summits in Brussels or Prague, blending online forums with in-person networking. Stay ahead with weekly updates on trends like China's cost-effective DeepSeek R1 LLM shaking up AI markets. Earn leaderboard rankings and win prizes like $50 Google Play vouchers for contributing to discussions or subscribing to their Data Radio Show podcast. Troubleshoot challenges with peers like optimizing CDC or change data capture workflows for Data Vault implementation. Members gain actionable skills, whether migrating to cloud platforms like Snowflake, automating ETL with Iris, or achieving GDPR compliance. The community's partnership with Scale Free and Ignition Data ensures access to certified Data Vault training and mentorship. From interactive Q&As to curated resources on DBT and metadata governance, the Data Innovators Exchange is more than a forum. It's a launchpad for career advancement. Join 350 plus professional transforming data chaos into clarity. Ready to elevate your data engineering game? Visit Data Innovators Community by following the link below today and plug into the future of data management.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going deep into data vault modeling.
Yeah, it's a really hot topic in data management these days, and uh, and for good reason.
Yeah, if you're struggling with mountains of data, keeping it organized, or if you want to really unlock the power of AI, data vault might be the answer.
It very well could be, and we're gonna, bust some myths along the way.
Okay.
You might think this is just for the big companies, but we've got stories about how Data Vault is changing businesses of all sizes.
Oh, wow.
I mean, imagine like a small computer repair shop using the same kind of data management as like a global bank.
Okay. I'm intrigued. So where do we even start?
Well, let's start with the foundation. Data Vault modeling is building a data warehouse that's like super structured, auditable, like a historical record of your business. You know,
Uh,
every change is captured, so you can basically go back in time through your data.
it's like a time machine for your data.
Exactly. Super valuable for like auditing, compliance, even understanding how your business has changed over time.
Hmm.
The core building blocks are hubs, links, and satellites.
Okay, those sound familiar. I remember vaguely reading about those somewhere.
Okay, well, imagine you're building a data vault model for that computer repair shop we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
The hubs would be the core things they work with, like the customers, the computers, the different types of repairs.
Okay, so the hubs are like the nouns of the model.
Right. And then the links show the relationships between those hubs.
Okay.
So a customer brings in a computer for a specific type of repair. Those connections are your links.
Got it.
Now, the satellites, think of those as all the details that can change over time.
Okay.
So for the computer, it might be the model, the operating system, the specs.
Uh-huh.
For a customer, it could be their contact info.
Okay.
For a repair, it might be the cost or the parts used. All those details live in the satellites.
So it's like building with Legos.
Yeah,
Each brick is a piece of data, and you connect them in specific ways to make a whole model of the business.
that's a great way to think about it. And here's where Data Vault gets really powerful. As the computer repair shop grows and changes, their Data Vault model can easily adapt.
Oh, wow.
They just add new hubs, links, and satellites to reflect those changes without having to rebuild the whole thing.
So no more like ripping and replacing your entire data warehouse every time something changes.
Exactly. You've got a solid foundation that can grow with your business. And this adaptability is a key reason why Data Vault is gaining traction, even in industries that have traditionally been slow to adopt new data management approaches.
Okay, well, that brings us back to the computer repair shop example you mentioned. They were able to work with a larger global brand thanks to Data Vault. How did that work? Wouldn't a simpler database solution have been enough for a small business like that?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Hmm.
See, the global brand had strict data management standards,
Uh-huh.
including compliance with GDPR, which the repair shop needed to meet in order to partner with them.
Okay.
Data Vault, with its focus on auditability and historical tracking, was actually the perfect solution.
So Data Vault helped them level up their data game and meet those requirements.
Exactly. But it did even more than that.
Really?
The structured data also gave them insights into their own operation.
Oh, wow.
They could see which repairs were most common, which parts they used most often, even identify trends in customer issues. This helped them streamline their processes and make smarter business decisions.
Wow. So Data Vault wasn't just a box-ticking exercise for compliance. It actually helped them improve their business. I'm starting to see why people are so excited about this.
Absolutely, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. We've got even more fascinating, real-world applications to delve into. For instance, did you know some banks are using Data Vault to analyze Bitcoin transactions?
Wait, Bitcoin? That sounds incredibly complex. How does that even work?
Yeah, it might sound futuristic, but it's happening right now.
Wow.
The immutable nature of blockchain transactions aligns perfectly with Data Vault's emphasis on historical tracking and auditability.
So they're basically tracing the flow of Bitcoin through the system, looking for patterns, and maybe even detecting fraud.
You got it. And because Data Vault is designed to handle huge volumes of data, it can easily keep up with the sheer scale of blockchain transactions.
That's mind-blowing, and I'm guessing there are even more applications out there, right?
Oh yeah, there's another great example, a company using blockchain technology to track their supply chain.
Yeah.
They integrated that data into their existing Data Vault warehouse.
Okay, back up at the supply chain. Blockchain. What were they tracking exactly?
Think about it. They wanted to create a secure and transparent record of where their products came from and how they moved through the supply chain.
Okay.
It's all about ensuring authenticity and knowing exactly where everything comes from.
So, like a digital trail for every product makes sense in today's world, but how did Data Vault fit into all of this?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting. Data Vault provided the ideal framework to integrate the blockchain data,
Hmm.
which is all about tracking changes over time with their existing business data. This created a single source of truth for all their operations.
So, it's like Data Vault is the bridge between traditional data management and these cutting edge technologies.
Exactly. And that's just scratching the surface. Data Vault's flexibility and adaptability make it a game changer in today's rapidly evolving data landscape.
I can see that.
But before we go any further, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back to explore how Data Vault fits into the bigger picture of data management.
This introduction to Data Vault is brought to you by Scale Free. In today's data-driven world, businesses face a critical challenge, managing exploding data volumes while ensuring agility, compliance, and scalability. Enter Scale Free, a global leader in Data Vault 2.0 solutions, empowering organizations to transform raw data into true strategic assets. Scale Free combines decades of expertise with cutting-edge tools like Data Vault for DBT, an open source package that simplifies Data Vault implementation using DBT. No matter if you need to integrate multi-source systems, track historical changes, or automate complex workflows, ScaleFree delivers future-proof solutions tailored to your needs. From staging to Business Vault, ScaleFree ensures adherence to Data Vault 2.0 standards, enabling parallel loading, auditability, and GDPR compliance. Adapt to evolving business needs without costly re-engineering. Their modular design handles everything from gigabytes to petabytes, ideal for mergers, acquisitions, or real-time analytics. Generate up to 95% of ETL code automatically, reducing deployment time and costs. Tools like Data Vault for DBT and Data Vault for Coalesce streamline modeling, loading, and governance. Identify risks and optimize existing Data Vault projects with actionable insights from certified experts. From strategy workshops to hands-on project support, ScaleFree's team empowers your in-house talent. Seamlessly migrate to AWS, Azure, or hybrid environments while maintaining data lineage and security. The result? Faster insights, reduced downtime, and a 360-degree view of your enterprise data. Companies leveraging ScaleFree report improved decision-making, regulatory compliance, and the ability to scale effortlessly amid market shifts. Ready to unlock your data's potential? Visit scalefree.com today to explore free resources, training, and consulting services. Transform your data chaos into clarity with ScaleFree, the architects of agile, auditable, and scalable data ecosystems.
Okay, we're back and ready to dive deeper into Data Vault.
Yeah.
We've seen some really cool examples, but I'm also feeling a little overwhelmed.
Yeah, I get that.
Data Vault seems pretty complex.
It can be, yeah, especially when you start thinking about how it fits into the, constantly changing world of data management.
Right, there are so many new terms popping up like data lakes, data lakehouses, data hubs, data mesh.
Right.
It's hard to keep up. How does Data Vault even relate to all of that?
Well, don't worry, it's not as chaotic as it seems. The good news is that Data Vault principles aren't limited to just one type of architecture.
Okay,
They can be applied across all those different approaches you mentioned.
so whether you're building a data lake or a data lakehouse or even a data mesh, Data Vault can provide that underlying structure and auditability.
That's right. It's like having a universal toolkit for managing your data.
Hmm.
And with the rise of AI and machine learning, Data Vault's structured approach is becoming even more crucial.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about how AI and machine learning are changing everything.
Right.
But how exactly does Data Vault fit into that picture?
Well, AI and machine learning are all about finding patterns and relationships in data, right?
Yeah.
But for those algorithms to work their magic, they need clean, reliable data. That's where Data Vault really shines.
So it's like Data Vault is laying the groundwork for successful AI and machine learning initiatives. You're not just throwing any old data at the problem, you're feeding it with high quality, trustworthy information.
Precisely. And that can make a huge difference for businesses looking to use AI for things like predictive analytics, personalized recommendations, even automating complex processes.
Wow. Okay, that makes sense. But I'm also curious about the practical side of things. Implementing Data Vault sounds like a big undertaking. What are some of the challenges people face in the real world?
That's a great question. And you're right, it's not always a smooth ride. One of the biggest challenges is getting input from subject matter experts. Those people who really understand the business processes and data relationships.
Yeah, I can imagine that those experts are already super busy with their day-to-day work.
Right.
It must be tough to get them to focus on a data vault project.
Exactly. And if we step back and look at the bigger picture,
Uh-huh.
it highlights the need for really strong collaboration between the business and IT teams. You need to bridge the gap between those who understand the data and those who are building the data vault model.
So how do you actually make that happen? How do you get those experts to share their knowledge effectively?
Well, there's some practical strategies you can use. One is to schedule dedicated workshops or interviews with the SMEs. This gives them a structured time to share their insights and really explain their understanding of the data.
And I'm guessing it's not a one and done kind of thing. You need to keep checking back to make sure the model is on track, right?
Absolutely. You need to create a feedback loop, going back to the SMEs, to validate the model and make sure it aligns with their needs and the overall business requirements.
Speaking of requirements, that's another area where things can get tricky.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard stories about projects getting bogged down in gathering and refining those requirements.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. Sometimes those requirements are vague, sometimes they contradict each other, and sometimes they even change halfway through the project.
So how do you navigate that? It sounds like herding cats.
Well, you've got to be agile and adaptable. One technique we've found to be super helpful is prototyping.
Prototyping, like building a smaller version of the data vault model to test things out.
Exactly. Building a prototype early on allows you to get feedback from the business stakeholders and iron out any kinks before you invest too much time in the full-blown model.
That makes a lot of sense. It's better to catch those issues early on rather than having to go back and redo everything later. But what happens as the data vault model grows and evolves, I can imagine it becoming really complex over time.
Yeah, that's another important question. As you add more data and business processes, you need to be really mindful of managing that complexity. Otherwise, it can easily turn into a tangled mess that's difficult to understand and maintain.
So how do you keep things organized and under control? It sounds like you need a whole system in place just to manage the model itself.
You're right, governance is absolutely crucial. You need clear standards, naming conventions, and documentation to ensure that everyone is on the same page.
Okay, that makes sense. But even with all that in place, wouldn't it be helpful to have some kind of visual representation of the model?
Absolutely. Investing in tooling that allows you to visualize the model, identify dependencies, and track changes over time is incredibly helpful.
Yeah.
It makes it much easier to understand the big picture and spot potential issues.
Okay, so we've got governance and tooling. What else is important for managing complexity?
Communication is key. You need to establish clear lines of communication between everyone involved. The modelers, the developers, the business stakeholders, everyone needs to be on the same page to prevent silos and ensure that the model is meeting the needs of the business.
With all this talk about change and complexity, I can't help but think about the human element. People are often resistant to change, especially when it comes to new technologies or ways of working.
You're absolutely right. It's natural to encounter some resistance when implementing Data Vault, especially if it requires teams to learn new skills or change their established processes.
So how do you address that? How do you get everyone on board with Data Vault?
The key is to be proactive and address those concerns head on, focus on the benefits of Data Vault, and demonstrate how it can improve data quality, increase agility, and ultimately make everyone's lives easier.
But it's not just about talking about the benefits, right? You need to provide the support and training necessary for people to feel comfortable with the new approach.
Exactly. Investing in training and providing ongoing support is essential. And don't forget to celebrate those early wins, showcasing the positive outcomes of Data Vault can create a sense of momentum and encourage buy-in.
So it's all about bringing people along on the journey and showing them the value of Data Vault.
Precisely. Change management is a crucial part of any successful Data Vault implementation.
Before we move on, there's one more aspect I'd like to touch on: GDPR and data privacy. We talked earlier about how Data Vault helped that computer repair shop meet compliance requirements, but I'm curious to hear more about that.
That's a great point, and it's becoming increasingly important in today's data-driven world. Data Vault can actually be a powerful ally in meeting those compliance requirements.
Okay, I'm all ears. How does Data Vault help with things like GDPR?
Well, GDPR and other data privacy regulations are all about protecting personal information and giving individuals more control over their data, right?
All right.
Data Vault's structured approach and focus on auditability can really help with that.
So because Data Vault tracks every change and provides a clear audit trail, it's easier to demonstrate compliance with those regulations.
Exactly. You can clearly identify and isolate personal data, making it easier to respond to data subject requests like the right to be forgotten or to demonstrate that you're handling sensitive data responsibly.
Hmm. That makes a lot of sense. So it's not just about managing data, it's about managing it ethically and responsibly.
That's a great way to put it. Data Vault isn't just a technical solution, it's a framework for building a data-driven culture that prioritizes data privacy and compliance.
This has been incredibly insightful. We've covered so much ground from the nuts and bolts of data vault modeling to its role in the evolving data landscape and the importance of addressing real-world challenges. But what does this all mean for our listener? How can they take these insights and apply them to their own data challenges?
That's the key question, isn't it? We've seen how Data Vault can help organizations of all sizes manage those ever-growing mountains of data, maintain data quality, and adapt to new technologies. But it's not just about the technology itself.
It's about changing the way we think about data management.
Exactly. Data Vault is a mindset shift. It's about building a solid foundation for data management that can adapt to the ever-changing needs of your business. It's about moving fast in today's data world, but also moving with confidence, knowing that your data is accurate, reliable, and secure.
And remember, Data Vault isn't a set it and forget it solution. It's an ongoing journey of continuous improvement.
That's right. Embrace the iterative process, engage your stakeholders, and always be on the lookout for ways to enhance your data management practices.
We've talked a lot about the technical aspects of Data Vault, but one thing that really stands out to me is the emphasis on communication and collaboration.
Absolutely. You can't build a successful Data Vault implementation in isolation. It requires a team effort involving data engineers, business analysts, subject matter experts, and everyone in between.
And it's not just about getting everyone in the same room, it's about fostering a culture of data literacy across the organization. Everyone needs to understand the value of data and their role in managing it responsibly.
That's a crucial point. Data literacy is becoming increasingly important in today's world. Another key takeaway is the importance of agility and adaptability.
Yeah, that's for sure. The data landscape is constantly evolving with new technologies and new challenges emerging all the time.
Right. And Data Vault, with its structured yet flexible approach, provides the adaptability you need to stay ahead of the curve. You can embrace new technologies like AI and machine learning without compromising on data quality or auditability.
So Data Vault isn't just a modeling technique, it's a strategic enabler for data-driven innovation.
Exactly. It's about empowering organizations to unlock the true potential of their data and make better decisions faster.
As we wrap up this part of our deep dive, we encourage you to think about how Data Vault can help you address your own data challenges. What resonated with you? What questions are swirling in your mind?
Explore these concepts further and see how they might apply to your own unique situation. Remember, the world of data is full of possibilities. And with Data Vault as your guide, you can navigate those possibilities with confidence and clarity.
This introduction to Data Vault is brought to you by Ignition. In an era where data complexity and regulatory demands are skyrocketing, businesses need agile, scalable solutions to turn raw information into actionable insights. Enter Ignition Data, the Asia-Pacific leader in Data Vault 2.0, offering cutting-edge training, consulting, and automation to transform how enterprises manage their data ecosystems. As the only authorized Data Vault Alliance training partner in Australia and APAC, Ignition empowers organizations to build robust, future-proof data architectures. Their expertise spans financial services, healthcare, education, and more, with proven success stories at institutions like Macquarie Bank and Central Queensland University. So why Ignition Data? Well, you can gain industry-leading Data Vault 2.0 certification through live interactive courses designed for data engineers and architects. From strategic planning to hands-on implementation, Ignition provides tailored solutions for data governance, quality frameworks, and GDPR-compliant architectures. Their Data Vault review service identifies technical debt and compliance gaps, offering actionable recommendations to optimize existing implementations. Ignition's Iris automation platform accelerates Data Vault deployment by generating up to 95% of code automatically, slashing development time while ensuring adherence to best practice. Integrated with Orion Governance's metadata tools, it delivers unparalleled lineage, tracking, and governance, critical for AI ML readiness. Clients report a 50 to 75% reduction in total cost ownership and the ability to deploy new data warehouses in weeks, not months. For example, MLC Life Insurance streamlined compliance while Robert Walters achieved scalable data integration across global systems. With Ignition, businesses unlock auditable data lineage. You can trace every metric of source, ensuring regulatory compliance. AI ML readiness, seamlessly integrate Data Vault 2.0 with platforms like IBM Watson X for generative AI applications. There's enterprise-grade security, manage PII and sensitive data through robust governance frameworks. Your data is future-proofed. Whether you're modernizing legacy systems or building a cloud-native lakehouse with Snowflake, Ignition bridges the gap between traditional warehousing and next-gen analytics. Their hub-and-spoke mentoring model ensures knowledge transfer, empowering teams to sustain long-term success. Ready to revolutionize your data strategy? Visit ignition-data.com today to explore certifications, free resources, and consulting packages. Transform data chaos into clarity with Ignition, where agile architecture meets enterprise-grade innovation.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We're wrapping up our exploration of Data Vault, and I've learned a lot.
Yeah, me too. It's been a really interesting conversation.
It has. So we've covered like a ton of ground, from like the basics of how to do Data Vault modeling to like how it fits into like the whole world of data.
Right.
We talked about challenges, solutions, all the techie stuff, and even like the human side of putting Data Vault into practice. But before we go, I kind of want to bring it all together for our listener. Like, what does it all mean for them? How can they actually use all this information?
That's the big question, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen how Data Vault can help all kinds of businesses, from that tiny computer repair shop to those big banks dealing with Bitcoin. It's about building a really strong foundation for managing data in a way that's adaptable, reliable, and future-proof.
Yeah, one of the things that really stuck with me was this idea of changing how we think about data.
Yeah,
It's not just about new techniques, it's like a whole new way of approaching data management.
totally agree. Data Vault makes us think about data as like this valuable thing that needs to be organized, protected, and used to learn stuff.
Yeah.
It's about moving fast, but also being confident that your data is accurate and you can trust it.
Right. And that confidence comes from the core ideas behind Data Vault, like auditability, historical tracking, and being able to adapt. We can see every change, understand how our data's changed over time, and easily handle new requirements or technologies.
It's like having a solid base when everything around you is changing. And that's especially important now with things like AI and machine learning changing everything so fast.
Yeah, we talked about how Data Vault can actually help those technologies by giving them the clean, reliable data they need to work. It's not just about like throwing a bunch of data at the problem, it's about giving those algorithms good, trustworthy information.
And as we move more and more into this world of AI, that well-organized, well-managed data is going to be even more important.
Another thing that really hit home for me was how important communication and collaboration are during that whole Data Vault process.
Oh, absolutely. It's not a one-person job. You got to bring together data engineers, business analysts, those subject matter experts, everyone. It's about breaking down those walls between teams and creating a culture where everyone understands data across the whole organization.
Yeah, that shared understanding of data and how important it is super crucial for success. And it's not just about the technical stuff, it's about building relationships, being open with each other, and making sure everyone's on the same page with the project goals.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
It's a team effort where you need to constantly talk to each other, give feedback, and be willing to learn and adapt as you go.
And we can't forget about data privacy and compliance.
Right.
Data Vault, because it focuses on keeping track of changes and having a history. It's a really powerful tool for meeting those requirements, especially now with things like GDPR.
It's not just about managing data. It's about doing it responsibly and ethically. And Data Vault gives you the tools to do that.
So, to wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with one last thought. Data Vault is more than just a technical fix. It's a journey of always getting better. It's about thinking differently, building a strong base, and being ready for the ever-changing world of data.
And remember, you don't need to have all the answers right away. It's about asking the right questions, trying things out, doing things again and again, and constantly improving how you do things.
So what really clicked with you? What made you curious? We encourage you to dig deeper into these ideas and see how they fit into your own data challenges.
Whether you're a data pro or just starting out, there's something here for you.
The world of data is full of possibilities, and with Data Vault as your guide, you can explore those possibilities with confidence.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Data Vault. We'll see you next time on the Deep Dive.
In the whirlwind of AI advancements and evolving data practices, professionals need a trusted resource to stay ahead. Enter datapro.news, the essential weekly newsletter delivering actionable insights on AI engineering, data governance, and cutting-edge management strategies. So why Data Pro News? Well, it decodes trends from near infinite AI context windows to Data Vault 2.0 automation. Data Pro News breaks down complex topics like real-time data quality enhancement and AI agentic workflows. There's practical guidance. Learn to implement data contracts, streamline governance, and integrate platforms like Databricks and Azure OpenAI for NLP-driven analytics. There's also naive inquiry into data and AI engineering. Each edition tackles challenges like balancing AI automation with human oversight and mitigating risks in recursive self-improvement systems. There's real-world value here. Subscribers gain tools to future-proof their workflows, whether optimizing predictive models, designing AI-ready architectures, or ensuring GDPR compliance. Case studies reveal how leaders like Macquarie Bank achieve a 50 to 75% cost reduction through agile data strategies. So join the frontier, supporting a global community of over 1,000 professionals. DataPro.news is more than a newsletter. It's a catalyst for innovation. Dive into free resources and curated deep dives on topics like RAG and LLM governance. Ready to transform data chaos into clarity? Subscribe at datapro.news and join the AI-driven data revolution, one insight at a time. Okay, so there was that last one as well, last promo that was written by this new AI platform, which is really fascinating to see. There's a lot of common sort of terms and phrases that they use in there that pop up throughout the text, but I would love to hear your insights on all of this as well. Does it feel like it flows like a human had something to do with this, or does it come across as something very much created by an artificial intelligence or a large language model? So yeah, leave comments in the descriptions down below. Really keen to hear what you say. And if you want to join the school platform or learn more about Data Pro Newsletter, those are also in the description. Really easy to track down. Until next week, make sure you look after yourself, live long, prosper, be one with the force, and have a fantastic week ahead.